In my years of escapades in the high seas, there are a few times that I come across these bodies on the water that's deceptively shallow. They're called atolls. Now, for those of you who misheard me, it's spelled as Atolls. But honestly, even if you misheard me, it's kind of relatively appropriate. But back to the watch. This C60 Atoll from Christopher Ward is deceptive, but in a good and beautiful way. This video is brought to you by Christopher Ward. The brand's current lineup is filled with C60 dive watches. In fact, there's 96 different configurations available for this watch. It's like their PRX or their Royal Oak, but with a bit more design complexity, if I dare say. But that's the hidden beauty of this dive watch platform. The case design and profile of the watch facilitates a number of variations from sapphire dials to now this relief marked bezel. This is a familiar sight. Smaller wrists will feel at home with these 40mm light catcher cases. The lovely curving lugs is complemented nicely with a curving chamfer around it. The operation is premium as can be. The Celita movement inside is a reliable caliber that's also utilized by a number of reputable brands such as Oris, Maurice Lacroix, and Glycine. I have owned a number of watches with this movement and I'm yet to send them in for service. Yes, because they are amazingly durable movements and because I'm increasingly cheap and mildly reckless. CW also knows how to cater to their audience and expand on the playability of their watches. They make sure that the straps also carry the same premium feel with their custom molded rubber, quick release spring bars, and ring keeper holders. As someone who's old enough to be called vintage himself, I welcome these modern advancements as they make me work less and gaze blankly into space more often. I mean, look at this. It's a holder for the keepers that's supposed to hold the strap. It sounds redundant, but believe me, you'd love to have it on every strap. Speaking of other straps, you know that I'll find a way to cram in Artem straps in this video. You can't blame me because they're really that good. That textured strap complements that texture-heavy dial and bezel. If you want a little more subtlety, Artem also got you covered with their new Hydroflex straps that's even softer than the strap that CW provides. These new straps are a fusion of Artem's signature base material and FKM rubber. It's water and dust resistant, that's only fitting for the C60. And look at that, it's also got those keeper holders. This combination, however, brings the total cost of the watch over $1,000 mark, so not all watch pirates will readily adapt this combination. This gray strap extends the case. A darker strap emphasizes it even more. This is my favorite configuration of all. I wore this watch on this setup for weeks and it's just a lovely complement and versatile option for most attire. And when you feel like sailing the high seas, a NATO will be your best friend. This is also from Artem and the hardware for these just pairs well with this atoll. Krill are small, simple-brained crustaceans known to be the blue whale's primary food source. Prove that you're not a krill by commenting on this video and subscribing to the channel. This watch was inspired by the Indian Ocean and the beautiful land masses of their namesake. As much as it's versatile, it's really more of an attention-grabbing piece with its colorful strap and exotic dial. The design is not just purely for visuals but for comfort too, with the generous taper aiding in wearability. Little is said how this also works well with the 11mm case height. This is where the C60 excels against other divers in its class, the details. This enamel dial has a slight fume going on and a color-matching date wheel as a bonus. It's a monochromatic approach versus the vibrant strap. It's got that CW identity built on the materials and hardware opposed to the off-the-shelf impression of competing watches. As lovely as it appears, the strap has much of its creativeness hidden at the underside of the pieces. It lets your skin breathe and ties in the brand presence without being too obvious. For the 13,000th time, the light catcher case is one of the best case designs within the $1,000 range. It's slick and it's got that light play that rivals luxury brand watches. This same care and attention is applied at the case back with its polished frames and decent caliber decoration. With that being said, it should be a given that the dial will definitely get the same design appreciation. The enamel dial projects a sandy personality, especially with its shadowy ring. The elements above it stand out readily because of its polished surface. As your eyes project outward, you're treated to an amazing light show from the crystal refraction down to the brushed steel ring around it. This is then broken up gorgeously by the bead-blasted bezel insert. I've seen relief bezel inserts before, but this one's soft matte texture diffuses light tremendously. This leaves the rest of the case to reflect the harsh light even more, including the numerals within the insert itself. This variety of light is the real selling point of the watch that is deceptively absent when merely looking at images. At this point, after experiencing many higher-end watches, I have come to consider CW as part of the club. The quality is really well above the price of what we're used to. I have heard of QC issues and dial imperfections from Christopher Ward before. I'm aware of that. But from the outside looking in, the value and quality outshines these flaws. Priced at $910, it's half the price of an Oris Aquis and about $500 less expensive than an actual Yachtmaster bezel. By that comparison, the C60 Atoll is a bargain by all respects. But for the microbrand loving, Seiko hating, and GShock collecting crowd, that may be $400 too much over the budget. Also, if you came across the whole C60 collection, you might pick the other more flashy variants over this. And that's where CW is lying to you. This may seem uninteresting at first, but holding it on the metal exposes its real strengths. The variations of the case finishing and dial textures almost feels too good to be missed out on. It almost feels as if they were intentionally hiding these amazing features behind the oversaturated colors. But we saw what you're doing here, CW, and you can't fool us on this one. That's the C60 Atoll from Christopher Ward. It's going to be available for pre-order mid-November, and I don't know how you're going to be able to order this or buy this. If you have the chance to see this in the metal first, then you could probably judge it more appropriately, as the promo images, the images that Christopher Ward is putting out doesn't really do it justice. There's so much variation when it comes to this texture of this Atoll, and I think that's the biggest selling point of this watch. And if you don't have the benefit of that, then I think it's very hard to judge this based on the other C60s that Christopher Ward is offering. And obviously we don't have the watch anymore. I had to send it back to Christopher Ward, but I had a good time using it for the few weeks that I had it in hand, together with the 1236 that I also reviewed recently. But right now what I'm wearing is our new chronograph that is also soon to be released, hopefully in November, but more likely now it's going to be December, but we're still aiming it to be released this year. And this one is the Florida blue variant of our 6030 chronograph, and watch out for that. We're going to be showing you many more images and the design behind this, and I'm pretty proud of this watch that I'm able to design and we're able to produce in connection with Horology Story. So watch out for that. And again, that's the C60 Atoll from Christopher Ward. So take my word for it, or at least hopefully this video helped you out in that, and like and subscribe to the channel, because apparently YouTube wants me to tell you now to subscribe, but I know that you are much more discerning people, and you're not krill that is left to be devoured by blue whales in the ocean. You're smart enough to comment and subscribe to our channel. Don't be a krill. Don't be an atoll either.